On today's show, Steph Curry said Luka Doncic is next. What does that mean? And who else is next on today's Locked On Mavs?
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show. Make it Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Join the Raccoon Squad. Be an everydayer. Subscribe. Follow for free. Just search Locked On Mavericks wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section. Outside of Luka, who do you think is up next? We're going to say up next a lot today. You're just going to have to define that however you define it. If you want to support the show, text us. Get text alerts from us on Mavs rumors and more. Subscribe to our subtext. Click the link in the description. You get text straight to your phone from us. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The up next negligent, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Inching closer to FIBA World Cup. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for some real basketball.
I'm ready.
It feels like it's been forever, but it really hasn't been that long. But it does feel like forever. And then we get the World Cup, we get some good basketball, we get some Luka Doncic basketball, and then before you know it, it's training camp, and we're watching Mavs basketball.
Oh, I'm so ready.
My first make.
That's how I feel about it. Yeah, we will do FIBA coverage throughout the weekend coming up, and then all through until Slovenia and Australia are knocked out. And so we'll continue to do that. Josh Green had an update today. Reporters in Australia said that he is good to go, that he should be ready to play against Finland. I can only think of Finland the way Patrick Star says it in SpongeBob when he gets hit in the head one time.
I think of Markkanen, but
I can only think of Patrick Star saying Finland. That's every time. They'll play Finland, and so he should be good to go. Luka will be good to go. He had a press conference today, and so we'll be covering that. But today, we've got – go ahead.
I had a random question to throw at you at the beginning.
Can you say one more thing?
One more thing. One more
Next
thing.
time, wait till it's 3 seconds left to talk.
I wrote this down to actually ask you at the beginning. My son asked me a question today, and actually it was yesterday. He's in my office at work, and I love pop figurines, like Funko Pops.
Funko, yeah.
And so I have a Treebeard pop. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan,
yeah.
So anyway, and
walking tree, yeah.
He looks at me really seriously and says, "But Popeye, is he like related to Groot?" And it was one of the best moments.
Amazing question.
Of like, no, but maybe. I don't know. Like, sure. Like, let's just cross. Like. This is the ultimate universe here.
Are we really getting into how trees populate here today?
Sun set out.
In this episode of Fatherhood, we'll
tell you how trees.
And I don't think it could have happened because the Ents lost all of the female Ents. Remember? So
that's true.
Couldn't find them.
So if there's Treebeard, I'd say Groot is up next.
Yeah, fair. Young Groot is definitely up next. But today we'll do our who's up next. We'll talk about the Steph Curry quote about Luka. Really like high praise from Steph Curry. And then we're going to do a who's next draft where we're just going to draft who's up next in the NBA. And by the time we get to it, you'll understand what up next means, I hope. But before we do all that, I want to give a birthday shout out to Justin Ledger. His wife reached out to us and he listens to the pod. He's a card-carrying member of the Raccoon Squad. He listens with his kids. Shout out to Justin Ledger's kids. Shout out to you guys. Hope you have a great day today. Hope your birthday was good. I think it was yesterday, but I hope you had a good day whenever it was.
What up, Justin?
And yeah, enjoy it. Have a good one, buddy.
Hey, kids. Justin's a cool dad. Know that. Maybe.
Don't lie to his kids.
If he listens to Locked On, that means
that's
he's cool.
Fair. That's fair. All right. Here's the quote. On Gilbert Arenas' podcast, Steph Curry said, yeah, it is. There's so many player podcasts. Steph Curry said this about Luka Doncic.
the ones that are going to be on the stage every playoff run, trying to, win the championship and, chasing MVPs and all-stars and all NBA teams and all that. Luka's like the guy, obviously, that's right on the precipice of accomplishing all those accolades and just, what he's about as a player. And that threshold of like, how do you just crack through? I hope it's not now, but it's like when you play against him, like you can feel it. And so, yeah, I mean, there's.
And then afterwards, Gilbert Arenas, he was like, I totally agree. Hold on, let me just play my favorite song.
Luka Doncic, Luka Doncic, Luka Doncic, Luka Doncic, Luka Doncic.
What are your thoughts about what Steph Curry said about Luka Doncic, about him being on the precipice, that he's up next?
I mean, it's cool whenever you see the greats give Lucas praise like that, especially at a moment like that, there's so many players, like Nick said, we're going to do this like fantasy draft for the rest of the pod. And as you just start going down through the list, I'm like, oh my gosh, oh man, I forgot about that guy. Oh, okay. Dang, got to have him on this. And it's like, there's so many good young players in the league. And for Steph just to call out Luka like that, hey, Luke is the guy. He is the one that is right there on the precipice of this. So I don't know. I thought it was really, really cool.
It's wild to me that a guy can be on the precipice, like quote the precipice, whatever he thinks that means, and be 4-time first team All NBA.
Yeah,
that's insane to me that Luka can be that. How many times has Steph even made first team All NBA?
Well, it's kind of when you talk about up next, I feel like a lot of people, immediately just look at the youngest guys in the league. Luka's at 24 and Steph's made it 4
Steph
times.
and Luka are tied for first team All NBA selections with 4.
Wow.
That's wild.
Luka might pass him at some point.
I think he might.
But it's also a testament to it we could do a whole pod on this. Like we have talked about how
That's what we're doing.
Well, on like Luka's greatness with this of, when we were talking about Hall of Fame stuff a few weekends ago, we're like, all right, Luka's already in. Like if he retired now, he'd be in. But also it's like you start comparing, to Luka's first 5 years in the league now to LeBron's first 5 years and to really anybody's first 5 years in the league and say, all right, how many players throughout NBA history have had better, first 5 years in the league? It's going to be, Luka's right up there with the All-Star appearances, the playoff appearances, and the craziest thing of all, the 4 first-team All-NBA, which is insane. Like, he's already just stacking up on the accolades. If he just continues down this path, it's just, rings is going to be the thing that, just moves him up in the all-time list.
Yeah, that's the next thing from him. And that's kind of what Steph was alluding to when he talked about the precipice. His next thing was, what he's about as a player, that threshold of how do you just crack through? And he said, I hope it's not now, because he doesn't want Luka to figure it out. And then all of a sudden that's the guy. That's the LeBron in the East, where he's the one making it to the finals every year, where it seems like Jokic has done that now. Jokic has cracked through it. All of a sudden the West is like, oh, now we got to worry about Jokic every year and worry about him, and go through him, because the West goes through him now because they just made it and won. And so I thought it was funny that Steph was like, I hope it's not now, because they want to still win.
Yeah, and Luka age-wise is just behind those guys. Is just behind Giannis and Jokic, the two guys. I saw this tweet the other day and it was like the NBA by eras. And it was great thought exercise, great, X interaction there. And
it's called Twitter
interaction, but it was basically like, this was, this decade was the Magic and Bird era. This decade, 90s was MJ
because of 2K.
Then it was Kobe and Duncan. But then, the last decade being LeBron and Curry. And it's like, all right, well, what's this next decade, this next, era going to be? And you almost want to give it the international label, like the international, trio of Giannis, Jokic, and Luka. but Luka's got to hit that moment too, like Giannis and Jokic did. And they're just ahead of him age-wise, career-wise. So like, if he follows the same path, then hopefully he has his Denver and Milwaukee moment, like Jokic and Giannis did. And that's what we look back on as this, this era and this decade as this kind of European trio.
Can we sneak the Raptors championship into the international era?
No, we can't.
But they're Canadian, so
yeah.
Coming up, I want to talk about why Luka is next and what does it mean for him to just crack through, and then we'll do our fantasy draft on who's next. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do that, let me tell you about Ibotta. Ibotta has you covered because it's summer. You may finally be taking that summer vacation, or you're just coming back and you're buying a bunch of school supplies. You're getting back. You're doing meal prepping. You're buying a bunch of groceries. You're like, all right, we got to save money now after all the money we just spent. So enter Ibotta. They can help you save and get cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, stuff from Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, all that kind of stuff. The average Ibotta user earns $120 per year that can cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. Or you can just get cash back on that flight that you've been eyeing. Go check it out. Other apps will just give you points. This will actually give you real cash back. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKED. When you register, go to the Google Play or the App Store. Download the free Ibotta app. Use the code LOCKED. That's Ibotta, 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 promo code LOCKED. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Being part of this show. On tomorrow's show, we'll talk more Dallas Mavericks. We'll break down what's going on. FIBA is coming up this weekend, so we'll have a lot of that coming up, covering Luka Doncic and Slovenia and Australia and Josh Green and Dante Exum. So we'll have that. The question I want to ask about Steph Curry's comment about Luka being the next guy, like on the precipice. What does that mean that Luka is next? Like, why is Luka the next one?
Like, in the eyes of like Steph, or like why would
another player, multiple time MVP champion, why would he say that? What does he see?
Well, I think he just sees that he's got it all. And I mean, he's seeing the accolades too, but for him to talk about what it's like to go against him also, and what he has at that size, at a 6'8" point guard, that just, I mean, I go back to the JJ Barea interview with JJ Redick. I feel like a lot of stars probably feel the same way, that they're just watching Luka saying, all right, you're already top 5. Keep drinking your sweet teas. All right. Like, because if you finally figure this thing out and hit the next level and go to that next level, and you come back, they're just like dreading the off season that Luka comes back and he's, ripped and in shape. And it's like, all right, now's the time, he's taking that next step. So if conditioning is the only thing holding a player back from being the best player in the league and winning a title, then there's a lot of other things to that. But I'm just saying, like, individual wise, if other stars are looking at that, then it's a pretty good spot to be in.
To me, I think there's one thing that really stands out about Luka that sets him apart from some of these other players we're about to draft in this, and that's his game steps up in the playoffs. Like, the difference between why someone says, oh, Luka is next, and why Joel Embiid was kind of never put in that spot. It's like, oh, he's the next guy. He kind of, he made his way up to MVP, and eventually, like, he won this MVP a lot, like, for the most part, because he he had the stats for it and all that, but he like lobbied for himself a lot. He was the one pushing himself, and there wasn't these other players saying, oh yeah, don't, like, Joel Embiid, man, that guy, don't. Like, other people are doing this for Luka now because his game steps up in the playoffs, right? He plays the Clippers really tough those first 2 years. He makes it to the Western Conference Finals with a team that probably shouldn't have in that, in that third year making the playoffs. And you just see him in the biggest moments take that step up with his game, average, 39 and 8 or 10 assists or whatever it is. And Curry's played against that, and seen it firsthand, and seen him almost steal a game 2 in Golden State that they really, really needed in the Western Conference Finals. And so I think that's why Luka is up next. And the thing that he needs to do to just crack through, right, is a lot of the things we've talked about. It's conditioning, like you mentioned before. It's knowing how to get teammates involved and not just look at it like a binary, okay, I score or I hit an open player, right? There's got to be a little bit more to that. There's more to the psychology of making sure the players get the ball. The thing that Donnie Nelson said on, like, his parting shot on the way out, like getting his teammates more involved. There's a little bit more to that I think a Jokic has figured out. that Luka can get away with not doing. He's gotten away with all the stuff, all his weaknesses basically so far. But if he gets better at a couple of those weaknesses, then that's when he's arrived.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do the who's next draft. You're itching to do this.
I'm ready.
When Isaac doesn't do the one more thing on any point, I know he's ready to do the next thing. We put no parameters on this. We told neither of each other like what parameters to take. It's just who's next. Like you're making this draft for who you think is coming up next in the NBA. And Luka's off the board, right?
Yeah.
Luka's off the board, so we're going to draft after that. All right. No parameters.
You going first or me?
You go first.
All right. We didn't put age parameters on this either. So I'll take somebody 1 year older than Luka Doncic, and I'll take Jason Tatum.
I knew you were going to take Tatum. I was going to do a 25-year cutoff.
Okay.
Like at 25 years old. That was my internal one. But since you did it, you kind of broke it already.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one I put down. I kind of broke it down by ages and wrote names down under age marks. And he's the only name I put under 25. I've always been a big fan of his. I think, the conversation of like, that group, and for a lot of the stuff that you talk about, that we talk about with Luka Doncic, I mean, this dude he's been in the finals. He plays a great defense. I mean, for all the stuff, you could go the younger route. And, there's definitely younger guys that we'll take on this list, but I'm like, I don't know. I think Jason Tatum is like one of the next, if not already one of the next faces of the league.
All right. I hear your first pick. You take Jason Tatum first. Feel that one.
All right. Who you got?
I'm going with the sexy name right now. The one.
He's getting all the hype right now.
The one that everyone's hyping up right now. I'm buying the stock. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. It may be frozen because it's in Minnesota, but Anthony Edwards. Taking him off the board.
It's good.
My guy is 22 years old. He was just 21 like a couple weeks ago. And to see him, just some of the shots that he took in some of these Team USA games, it's not just that he's overwhelming everybody with athleticism. He is doing that too, but he's hitting these turnaround pull-ups. Like he's such a skilled player. He's so incredibly athletic. And he's got this attitude that I think, we'll just take him so far in the NBA that I'll take Anthony Edwards. I'm feeling really good about that being my first pick.
He's been a lot of fun to watch so far in these exhibition games. And I mean, when you talk about like approval ratings in the league, I mean, he's right up there.
The highest.
Like,
yeah.
People love this guy. And yeah, he's a lot of fun. Hopefully he can get out of Minnesota at some point.
No, screw that. He can win in Minnesota, I think.
Hopefully they can get one of the bigs out of there.
Correct. There you go. I feel for Ben Beacon in Locked On Wolves and actual Wolves fans, because I mean, they had to deal with Dirk beating KG. Like they had to deal with KG going to the Celtics and like winning a title. And that was a win for them. Like, no, okay, let's get a title for them.
Yeah. They got to get Towns out of there. This one's so funny. So
you're not going to pick Towns and you're up next. Is that what I'm gathering?
Towns is like 27. It's pretty wild.
You just picked 25-year-old Jason Tatum.
Yeah. This one's kind of funny for me because it has been a journey from the draft, and now it's come full circle. So I'm taking SGA, and
just on with the old guys.
So he's 24, but it's funny because I was kind of on the camp of like, hey, I think I would take him over Trae Young coming out of that draft, and I was like higher on SGA than Trae Young. And it looked pretty dumb early on because he wasn't this SGA. And I'm not gonna lie, didn't like fully like, dang, like, did I miss on that take? Like that was, and then slowly I feel like it's come back around, and I feel like more people's back. I doubted myself, and now I feel like people's more on that corner now of taking SGA over Trae Young.
No, I'm with you. I would have taken him if I was gonna do 25-year-olds. That he's probably the first name I would have taken besides Jason Tatum. He's amazing. Like the way that he just takes a step up in his game every year. I was listening to Rylan Stiles from Locked On Thunder on Locked On Fantasy do his like team preview. Josh has done all these team previews. They're must listen. They're awesome. And him talking about Shea. Shea has taken a step up in his game every offseason. It's like he goes into the offseason, he comes back and he's better at one thing. And it's just made him so much better than everybody else. And like to lead that team and that's such a young team to the play-in last year. It's just, I mean, It's an amazing feat to score what he did with the way that they play and to play defense still. Like, amazing. All right, coming up, I've got my next pick 4 off the board so far. Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Who am I taking next? Ooh. We'll tell you in the up next fantasy draft. Up next.
My first shot, my first make.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of this show. All right, Isaac. Tatum off the board. Anthony Edwards off the board. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Luka, obviously, off the board. We didn't take him.
You taking Trey?
The Who's Next draft. Who's next? Give me... I know who you want to take next. I'm taking Paolo Banchero.
No! I almost took him over SGA.
I know.
Wait, no.
He was next on my list. You want me to show you?
How? Because you gave me heck because I said that I would take Paolo over Wemby moving forward. How are you taking Paolo now over Wemby?
Just because well, he's a year older. We've seen him in the NBA. I'm still a little weary about Wemby in the NBA. And we've seen a year of Paolo, and I know that he's good. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm taking him.
Screw you.
I'm allowed to change my mind on things.
I mean, I'm all in on Paolo. Yeah, like, I mean, if we're doing like, hey, who, there's no parameters for this up next thing. And I love SGA and all of that. Like, I mean, I literally would. I would take, Paolo over Wemby right now. And I know that I'm into my door. Last time I said that on the podcast, there are definitely comments about if I was high or not on that one. But
aside from the normal comments we get about that?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, man.
Isaac doesn't have any kids. His kid didn't ask him about the tree beard and Groot. He was just sitting around and he just thought of that.
Gosh, dang it.
There's a lot of good names still.
I know. I didn't think you were gonna take Paolo, so okay, I'm gonna hold off on that name. All right, give me Wemby.
All right. Okay.
Were you gonna take him if I didn't?
Oh yeah, definitely. Who's my next? I mean, my next two were Paolo and Wembanyama, and I went back and forth on which one I was going to take, and I decided to just go with the guy I've seen 1 year of that.
Yeah,
we heard really good things coming out of Team USA camp, like he's playing with Team USA, and feel really good about Paolo. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama, like just how unique his skill set is, and how professional he is already. Like being that professional this early in your career usually works well for you. That's why so many and former NBA players' sons are so good in the NBA because they know the professional life and they've been worked with a trainer and did that whole thing all the way coming up. And Victor Wembanyama, his international, his team that he played with, the Metropolitans, was built around him. So, I mean, he's been doing this for a while. This has been a dream of his. And so I really do believe in him, even if I believe in Paolo being up next just a little bit more. And maybe a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
My next pick, I'm going Cade Cunningham.
Dang you.
Just going number one picks off the board here.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham has had, he was injured last year, didn't look too good even in the games that he played, but he's been doing really well on Team USA camp as well. He could have had a spot on this team, but he's just got that, almost Luka-esque size passing ability that you just want in a guy that's quote unquote up next like this.
Yeah.
And he's just a special player.
No, I'm with you. Yeah. Anybody that's selling Cade Cunningham stock right now because of the last year, hit me up. I'm interested in buying all the property right now. I'm really big on him.
I'm literally only taking number one picks: Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero, Cade Cunningham. That's all I'm doing. Is taking number one picks.
Who is next? I guess you can have Zion.
You already took Wemby, so
that's true. I'll take Jaren Jackson Jr.
Good one.
He's 23. I think everybody's reading the same stuff and watching the same stuff with him in Team USA, what he means for, USA. I think he's going to have a monster World Cup, and I think he's going to have a monster first part of the season without Ja. And I like him a lot. So I'll take him here.
That's a good one. He's 24 too. You'd think that he would be older now. Already has a Defensive Player of the Year award under his belt, but like him and Luka are the same age.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
My next one's Tyrese Halliburton. Easy one.
Ooh.
Easy one for me. Have you seen the video of Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton? They've become real good friends now. I'm gonna put a guarantee they'll be on the same team in the next 5 years or so. Like those two,
New York?
wherever those two will find a way, because that's what Team USA does. It just connects these players. But Tyrese is so good. He's just such a great passer. He averaged 20 and 10 last year. Like as a 22-year-old, made the All-Star team. He's 23 now, but he's just a guarantee. He should be on the Mavericks if that was a what if we've done before, that Mavs were trying to trade Brunson in that 2020 draft to go up and get him, and they wouldn't have Josh Green, but they'd have Tyrese Halliburton and Luka, and that duo would be so fascinating to watch. But
oh yeah, Rick was a big Halliburton guy. Eventually got him, and now you're going to get Anthony Edwards to say, "Hey, I'm taking my talents to the Midwest again."
Yep.
All right, I'm going to zag a little bit.
Take him,
Cooper Flag.
Whoa!
I told you I'm going to zag a little bit.
Can the man even drive yet?
I'm going to take Cooper Flag.
Wow. Off my board.
I debated him or Cam Boozer, but I'll take Flag. He's the only high schooler, him and Boozer, I had on my list.
He's the only guy with a history report due next week. Like Cooper Flag.
He did reclassify though, which is interesting.
That doesn't change how old you are.
That's true.
So, but we have no parameters on this, but the who's next, like you pick the guys that are the closest to being the age, like in Jason Tatum and Shea, and now the guy that's the farthest away from
yeah, I'm just trying to cover all the parameters of this.
You pick the guy next in the NBA who's not in the NBA for another year or two.
Yeah.
Wild.
Because we have no rules on it.
Okay.
You want to take like Chris Paul's son, or
give me Bronny James's kid.
Oh, I was like, wait, really?
No, give me Ja.
Okay.
I'll figure it out. I think it'll work. Did you hear T Morant recently?
I saw him.
His dad, T Morant, was like, Ja's not in trouble because of his friend's decisions. It's about the decisions that he made. And for his dad to come to that conclusion, I would hope that Ja has come to that conclusion now. And if he's come to that conclusion, I think he's on a good path. You hope he's on a good path. And when he does play, he's amazing. And he has taken his game up in, on the biggest stages too. That first year playing against the Jazz in the playoffs, like where he had that 40-point game in the playoffs. I mean, he does take his game to the next level. They win games you don't think they're supposed to in the playoffs, and only 24.
Yeah, he would have went much higher if all the other stuff. Give me
Cooper Flag over him.
Give me Scoot Henderson.
Yeah, I knew you were going to take it. I knew for sure you were going to take him.
I almost took him over Wemby, but
I know.
Yeah.
I know that's what you're deciding between.
I know.
You could have taken Cooper Flag like 25th or whatever number we get to.
I didn't. I wanted to really, dip into the younger crowd there. So, yeah. I mean, I think Scoot's going to win Rookie of the Year. So, I'm really high on Scoot.
I'm with you on that. All right, I'll take the other.
This is where it gets fun.
I'll take the other disgruntled one. I'll take Zion Williamson too.
All right, well, you can just get Trey next.
I'll take Zion Williamson because he's way better than many of these players on the list if he plays. The problem is if he plays. So.
If he plays,
if he's healthy, I take him over Paolo. Like he's amazing.
I'd still take Paolo. Gosh, this one's hard because there's a couple of guys I like really, really like, but it's about like ceiling. You know what's fascinating is two players that I think is polarizing at this point, besides Trae Young, is LaMelo and Scotty Barnes.
Yes.
That, 2 Rookie of the Years, and LaMelo won that over Anthony Edwards, right? Or I could be wrong. Anyway, just kind of polarizing guys that, a year or so ago, they're probably going much higher in this, but I'm going to go with Evan Mobley.
Okay. He was the next guy on my list for sure. like Evan Mobley. He's got to take a step forward so that the Cavs can trade the Mavs Jared Allen. That's
Exactly
the benefit here that we need. All right, so now I'll take Trae Young. No.
Oh, I love this.
No,
yes, please do.
No, I'm doing my 25-year-old.
I might take him.
That's fine. I'm doing my 25-year-old cutoff, so I'm not doing that. I have a 25 is too old for me, and definitely 16 is too young. So that I had a floor and a ceiling on mine. I'll take Scotty Barnes. Give me Scotty Barnes next for Sean Woodley and the Raptors fans. He's going to take a step forward this year because he's going to have the ball in his hands. They're going to put a lot on him, and then he'll take a big leap from next year to the year after that with all that experience.
Yeah.
You want to take one more?
No, let's take two more each.
Let me pull back the curtain. Isaac has 2 names he really wants to take. So my goal over the next 2 picks is to pick one of those.
2 more. I'm going to take. Gosh, do I take RJ Barrett here or
make my list?
Nah, I can't.
I gotta pick one of these.
Give me Jabari Smith.
Wow,
dude's been like grinding in these workout runs. We got to put a limit on how much stuff we're getting. Like, I mean, I'm seeing tape breakdowns of the Rico Hines runs, and we gotta. We're really desperate for this.
No, now listen.
Oh man.
We've heard some good things. Henry Abbott reported about Omax that he's been killing it, and that a scout came up to him and thought was like, "Oh man, I didn't realize that guy was a rookie." That's what you want to hear. No.
Yes, there's one thing hearing that he's doing well. There's another thing of saying, if I'm posting clips saying, "Dude, he's doing great on the veer screens," and all that. So that's just. Anyway, keep going.
With my next pick,
second to last pick.
My next pick.
Come on, who are you gonna take? Huh?
I'm trying to decide if I want to pick the one I think Isaac's gonna take, or if I take the one that I want.
You want to take Omax from me? Okay.
I'll take Chet.
Oh my gosh, why wasn't he on my list at all?
I'll take Chet. I think that Chet is just
I forgot all about him.
He's such a unique player. He's going into technically his rookie year this year. Him at the rim, just all the stuff that I saw from Summer League, like, oh my gosh, I think he's going to be a really good rim protector right away. Just his instincts and his crazy arms. Obviously, he's got to put on weight, but he's a little far away from next, but I think he'll be there.
That's a good pick, yeah. He wasn't even on my list. Dang it. I want to take him. Last one, I'll take Cam Boozer.
You just...
Who's your last one?
How old is Cam Boozer? 16. Isaac is taking several high schoolers on this list.
I think they're going to be really good.
With my last pick, I'll take Franz Wagner.
Oh, that's good. I was debating between him and would it have been dumb to take Jalen Williams in this?
Which one?
J-Dub.
No, I don't think that would have been dumb.
Okay, because I
thought about Giddey too.
Yeah, I had Giddey, J-Dub, Keegan Murray, and over
LaMelo Ball even.
I don't know why I'm just kind of like out right now. I kind of have LaMelo in the Zion category. If you're guaranteeing me like 3 years of health, then I'm like back on board. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. But
there you go. Let us know.
We should put these on X and see what people think.
But they're not teams. They're just who's next.
Yeah, no rules behind it, and just let people argue about what that means.
We'll put it there. We'll put it on the YouTube community tab. Guys, let us know who you think is next in the comments below. Check back with us tomorrow with more Locked On Mavs. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.